All right, good morning, everyone. We're having a new semantics class today. And last, in the 2 weeks before, we finished Unit 3. We finished with jokes, semantic jokes, or semantic jokes with linguistic manipulation. This week, today, in this class, we're starting a new unit, Unit 3. And in Unit 3, the format, the layout is different. Okay, this is more theoretical and the approach is different. So I would like to go over that lesson 1, unit 3, one by one, step by step with you. First, I need to tell you about the topic. Lesson 1 is about denotation and connotation. And what are those? This is linguistic theory. Denotation is a concept. Denotation is a definition. Normally, a dictionary definition. That would be a denotation. For example, if I say the word book and I say that is a written text with a cover and a backside, pages inside, numbered pages inside, that would be a denotation, a definition of of something. That would be the denotation. Connotation, on the other hand, has to do with feelings, not with reasoning, but more with feelings. Here. So it has to do with emotions. And these emotions are totally connected with history. Like words are usually old. There are old words and there are new words. The ones that are old and the ones that are new, both of them have history behind. There is a story behind words. And normally, what people do is people associate feeling to certain words. We have studied results of semantic change. We studied widening, narrowing, amelioration, pejoration. And especially with amelioration and pejoration, you can see how words, which are just words, they 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 have negative or positive connotations. Okay. So as I told you, they are related to emotion. The manual talks about examples. For example, the manual says a snake. It talks about a snake. The definition or the denotation of a snake is a reptile. Yes, it's a reptile running around. Yes, literally reptile. But the connotation for some people is a horrible beast. For example, horrible beast is described subjectively as snake. So again, one more thing about connotation that we learn from that is that connotation is subjective, which means that Carla might feel something regarding a word, but Shirley will feel differently because it is subjective. So each of you will have a different feeling regarding words. For example, before you, there were other students. There was one that is very successful, one nice student, former Ethan student. She's very successful. She's studying in, I think, Alabama or in the United States right now. She's doing her master's degree. Her name is Alma Rojas. And she told me that she lived in a city. I don't remember the city where she lived in. And she said that she lived near a cemetery. And in order for her to leave her house and take a bus, she had to go through the cemetery because that would be a shortcut. Otherwise, she had to go around the cemetery and it would take her a long, very long time. So, as a child, she did that every day. It was a daily routine. So, the associated feeling that she gets from the word cemetery is nothing but neutral. For
Excuse
her,
me, teacher.
sorry, Aleja?
Teacher, I can barely hear you. It's
Ah,
not my internet.
okay, let me
It's
fix that. Let me fix it. Okay, I'll call myself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Okay.
Yes.
Finally. Excellent. Okay, I'll leave my phone here. Where did you get lost? I was telling you about a former student from ICE. Her name is Alma Rojas. Did you get that?
Actually, I get lost from the beginning.
Ah. All right. We have the recording then. Okay, but anyways, I was telling you about this Alma Rojas lady. She's very successful now. She's doing her master's degree in Alabama University or somewhere in the United States. She graduated from ICE and she went there now, and she's doing her master's. Okay, and she lived in a city. I don't remember which city here in Paraguay. And in order for her to leave the house and take the bus to go to school, she would have to cross the cemetery. So every day she would cross the cemetery. And for her, it was our daily routine. Nothing wrong, nothing different uh, from other people who have very strong feelings regarding cemeteries. So the connotation is like that. Connotation has to do with associated emotions or feelings. So for her, it had the word cemetery had a neutral connotation, while for other people, the word cemetery is synonym of darkness and death, and so the connotation will be very negative, very strong negative connotations, which leads us to think that connotation is subjective then. If a word has a positive connotation for Carla, the same word might not be positive for Shirley, for example. Or Sulma, she will think that is neutral, is not really relevant. So that means that everyone will have a different answer regarding connotation. If we study connotation, the answers will vary a lot among students. So again, denotation is the dictionary definition of a word, is a definition of a concept, like computer is a machine that calculates, that processes data. That's a definition, a dictionary definition. That's a denotation. But the connotation is the associated feeling. So for me, the word computer has no positive or negative feelings. It's neutral to me. Personally, I think that the word computer has a neutral connotation. Connotations are got through historical reasons. A word can be historically negative for many, many years, and that's why it is negative now. If I start swearing right now, some of you will feel offended. Or the opposite. If you start swearing right now, I might feel offended. Okay. So words have connotations. Words come with a definition, but also with the feelings attached, the emotions attached, the connotation. Okay. So this is what basically the lesson is about. Denotation and connotation. Words have both of them. Now I would like to read along with you. I want you to read with me. I will share the screen and I will share the semantics book with you, the semantics textbook with you. This is unit 3. It's a different unit, so the format, the approach is very different. There you have the definition of denotation and the definition of connotation. So you need to go over the manual later. And here we have examples. It says word, denotation, and connotation. The first word is new. The word new. The word new means of recent origin, something of recent origin. But the connotation is usually better or improved. When you say, I have a new car, you think on something that is better or improved. Yes, that's the connotation attached. But the word new does not imply that. We add that. Okay. Then, as I told you before, snake is a round reptile, but the connotation is a horrible beast for some people. Remember, connotations is subjective. Adequate. The word adequate in English is a very, very interesting word because they don't use that word the same as we do. We say adecuado, but when they say adequate, the connotation means exactly as Spanish, good enough. That means adequate. But the connotation in English is that something is not very good. So if someone says, for example, I bought a new blender, do you like it? Is it good? And if the person says, oh, it's adequate, it means that it's not really good at all. Yes. So that's the way words are used. Okay. But does the definition of the word imply not very good? Not really. It implies the opposite actually. It means good enough. It's just the way people use it in English. In Spanish, if we say, qué adecuado es haber comprado esto, still would be good. Adecuado is good in Spanish. The following one, excuse. An excuse is an explanation. Normally, an explanation of why something has not been done. Okay? But the connotation of an excuse is a weak reason. We teachers think about that. We teachers think about that all the time. We think that the student is giving excuses, and excuse means a weak reason. Okay, no, that's the stereotype of a teacher, yes, and the stereotype of a student as well. Very good. So please at home go over the manual. This one. Look at this list of words. This list of words is there because they want you to think or to feel how your feelings change as we read the words. Okay? The words mean the same thing. One line of words means exactly the same thing. They share the same denotation. What they don't share is the same connotation, the same associated feelings. For example, if I say house, home, or living accommodation, the three of them have to do with the same concept, but living accommodation. Would you say that? Where do you live? I live in a living accommodation. Nobody would say that. Okay, it sounds too technical and it's used in different contexts. The word home implies something family events. It is positive. It has a positive connotation normally. And house is more neutral. What about childlike, childish, and juvenile? My son is 9. He's a juvenile. Nobody speaks like that. Nobody says that. Yes. It has a different connotation. The use is different. It's used in different contexts. Childlike and childish mean different things. So the denotations are different. Okay. Childlike is to act as a child, and childish is an immature person. What about girl? Yeah. This one causes problems normally. Girl, woman, lady, chick, broad, bird, and female human. Wow. Female human sounds like an alien talking. Okay. Then let's go. Let me see. This one. Single girl. Single girl. A single girl is an unmarried woman. And then it says spinster. The word spinster is a horrible word. It's disappearing nowadays that people have rights, many rights, and it has a very negative connotation in both Spanish and in English. Okay. Questions so far?
What does it mean?
It means solterona.
Okay.
horrible word. Yes.
What I wanted to ask is if these words can be considered as synonyms.
They depends. For example, childlike and childish, they are synonyms in partial synonyms. But yes, most of them are. Most of them
Because
are. Yeah, but
you once mentioned that synonymy doesn't have 100%.
right, right.
They are not always.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So synonyms, yeah, yes, they are synonyms then. Look at this one. Boyfriend, steady guy. Steady guy means a permanent guy. Someone who is who is permanent, like it doesn't change. And male companion. Male companion has the connotation of someone you rent, but because you know that you can rent people, right? You rent people, like you have a big event and you have no one to take with you, so you rent someone. Those services are available in the United States, at least. I don't know here in Paraguay, but I rented a male companion. It sounds horrible to me. What about this one? Rich, wealthy, and loaded. Okay, a person who is rich is not poor. Wealthy has a more formal connotation, let's say. Wealthy, wealthy, and loaded. He's loaded. He has tons of money. What would be the Spanish version of loaded? Está no cargado. Eh, rico, adinerado y tiene la lana. Something like that.
Pudiente.
Pudiente, muy pudiente. It could be, yeah, why not? So notice that you change the word and the connotation changes. Look at the last one. A quiz, a test, an exam, examination, midterm. If I tell you I'm going to give you a quiz, it's different from I'm going to give you an examination. I will examine you. That sounds so threatening to me. Examination. I am under an examination. They are synonyms, but the connotations are so different one from the other. So what are you supposed to underline in your manual? This one. Connotation is often a product of context. You change the context and the connotation changes. Examples. The pastor preached yesterday. A pastor is supposed to preach, to give sermons. So no problem. The connotation is neutral because he's just doing his job. He's supposed to preach. But if you change the context in which the word preach occurs, Joe preached me about book buying, it has a negative connotation because preach is considered sermonear in English, in Spanish, but with a very negative connotation. Okay. So please go over the manual because it explains very, very well about denotation and connotation. This one also, you need to underline this. Denotation is also often a product of context. So not only the feelings change when you change the context, but also the meaning, the definition changes when you change the context. For example, this is an old joke. Do you put sugar or steer manure on your strawberry? First, vocabulary. Steer manure is fertilizer, animal fertilizer. Okay, what do you put on your strawberries? Do you put sugar or do you put steer manure on your, do you put fertilizer on your strawberries? Why is this an example of the phrase denotation is also often a product of context? Because strawberries here is has different meanings. if you put sugar to your strawberries, you can imagine you have a bowl with washed, cut strawberries and you put some sugar on it. But if you say, do you put fertilizer on your strawberries? It means you have the plant, the strawberry plant, and you put fertilizer on it. So the word strawberries changes. For the meaning of the word strawberries changes. The first one is the fruit cut and washed, used to eat. And the second one is a plant that gives strawberries. In this way, we can exemplify that the fact that the notation is a product of context. Look at the word put on, for example, the expression put on. Put on a Beethoven record, put on Junior's tennis shoes, put on a Beethoven t-shirt, put on a perfume, put on a smile, put on the dinner plates, put on the television, put on your ears, put on hair, put on the car wax. If you change the context, the word put on changes its meaning. Put on a smile is very different from put on the television. What does put on the television mean? It means turn it on. What does put on a Beethoven record mean? It doesn't mean turn on the record. It means put the record in the record player, that doesn't exist anymore. But it used to mean that. Okay. What about love? The word love. I love ice cream is different from I love my girlfriend or I love my parents. So if you change the context in which the word love occurs, then the word love means different things, different types of love, isn't it? So again, go over the manual so that you have a better understanding of denotation and connotation. Let's look at this exercise. Explain, and notice that it says explain again, my favorite word, explain. Explain the different connotations, associations, and built-in judgments in each of the definitions below. Abortion is the termination of a pregnancy. Yes, it is. And for me, personally, I think that is negative. For me, it sounds negative because of the word termination. The word termination in English sounds like killing to me. The second one says the killing of a fetus. Well, the word killing is full of, and we're running out of time. The word killing is full of negative connotations. And the word fetus also, feminist people will differ with me probably, but for me it's negative. The murder of a human being, they chose the word murder now. So the word murder is full of negative connotations, okay, historically. So connotation gets feelings according to history. The removal of an unwanted tissue. Oh, unwanted tissue. That's even worse because it's not human anymore. It's just tissue. Okay, unwanted tissue. And then a simple birth control procedure. It sounds more neutral to me. Probably a doctor said that. Still, I don't agree with that. But anyway, it has nothing to do with you agreeing or disagreeing. It's the feelings that you get from the synonyms. This column, a woman is pregnant with a fetus, with an unborn baby, with fetal tissue, a preborn child. Notice how the concept is the same, the denotation is the same. The connotations are the problem. Every time we change a word, we get different feelings associated to those words. One thing that you need to underline in your manual is that words are not neutral. Words are not neutral. Everything that we say has an associated feeling to them. That's why when people fight, when people have an argument, they choose carefully certain words that will hurt the other person. How can a word hurt you if a word is just sound? Because of the feelings associated to that string of sounds. Or when people write horrible things to another person, the writing conveys very strong emotions. Those are connotations, and that is why it says words are not neutral. Okay, this is very important that we need to understand. One more important thing, we will do the opposite. We, as students of linguistics, as students of semantics, we are strongly encouraged to not to react to words. We know that words are not neutral, but once we know that secret, that means that we can avoid reacting to them. Okay, so we need to be very intelligent, very smart. So if someone is trying to hurt you through words, then you could just think on the denotation, focus on the denotation of the words rather than on the connotation of the words, and you could even win the argument. Like be smarter than the other person. Okay, so you can intentionally not react to words and analyze the words semantically, like the meaning, what the person means, rather than what the person is aiming at, because people are usually aiming at your heart, and that is called emotive language. Emotive language. We use emotive language all the time. And people who sell things like advertisers know that too. That's why they say, llame ya, because people on the other side of the screen have emotions and they say, I want that, I need that, when they don't need it. But I want to do that. My brother is one of them. My brother falls for these commercials all the time, and he has many unusual things in his house, and he paid a big price for them. So he falls for them. Okay, what if we start using our brains and not react to those words? We analyze what they say rather than we get involved with the feelings and emotions that the words carry with them. Very interesting topic, huh? Very, very interesting topic. I will probably make a video for the exercises that come after, because these exercises, I want to go over the exercises along with you, okay? And they take time. So I want, it's just 3, I think, 2, yeah. But I need to take my time to do this. So I will post a video on developing the exercises. And then once you watch the exercises and you have read all the lesson, because notice how, notice what you need to read a lot. It's not a lot, it's 2 pages. Okay, anyways, after that, you will be able to do the quiz, the practice quiz. Here is a practice quiz, okay? And you will have homework, and this will be the homework. I read put on a Beethoven record, put on perfume, etc., etc. This is the homework. What does put on mean? In put on your ears and put on Harry. It's not only that, you also need to state your sources. And this is very important. You need to state your sources using a nice format. If you have doubts how to do that, go to Professor Remigio and he will tell you how to do that. So you need to state where, the sources of the information and do that. That would be the homework, okay? But do the homework after I have posted the video and you have read everything, not before, because it needs to make sense. Liliana Fleitas has just got here. No, she was here and she left and then came back because of the probably internet connection. We have had so many problems with accessibility, with Wi-Fi and connections, etc., etc. Plus, Ande is not helping at all. Ande and ESAP are not helping added to the problematic that we have. Okay, so what is left then is for me to upload the video. I have already uploaded one video that you need to watch. I will formally assign the homework on the platform and that will be it then. Okay, I'm stopping the recording